Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself. And today I want to ask you, do you talk about your symptoms? Do you tell people about your symptoms? Or even just one person? Do you have to, when you see them walk through the room, and say, oh, I don't feel good today. You know, my back hurts, my muscles are sore. Whatever it is, your prominent symptom or your prominent problem where the suffering comes from, do you see this person and you tell them. You just have to tell them. You have to explain to them, right, what is happening with you. So if this is you, I want to tell you, you're not alone. Many people do this. I do this. I did this so heavily. I barely talked about my symptoms ever in public to anyone. But every time I saw my husband, I'm like, oh, I have this symptom today. I have this symptom today. Like, right? I would just start to tell it. Okay, so why am I asking you this question and why is it important? Because this is part of the reason you're not healing. Not because you're talking about it. That's really not the issue. The problem is this. The problem is why you keep talking about it. So a lot of people say, don't talk about your symptoms, right? It's making you sick. It's continuing to ignite the fire. And a lot of people work on resisting talking about their symptoms to anyone, right? They try to resist and create a new story where they don't talk about their symptoms. But that is really not a way to heal. Because what I want you to know, or what I want you to ask yourself, is why do you keep talking about the symptoms, right? Why do you keep feeling the need to tell the symptoms to somebody? So let me just streamline this for you. I'll tell you the reason. The reason is because you have never felt seen. You have never felt heard. You have never truly, truly felt understood. Right? And that's what we're really seeking. So when we go to the doctor and we tell our stories over and over, we're waiting for them to hear us, to see us, to understand. When we continue to tell our partner or mother or father or whoever it is that we tell, a trusted friend, right? Whoever we tell, we're waiting for this moment. We know they're listening to us, right? We know they hear us. We know they get it. We know they understand in a way. That's not what we're waiting for. We're waiting for this moment. And we keep telling it over and over. We keep telling our symptoms over and over because we want this moment, this emotional moment where we feel seen. We feel like someone understands the weight, the emotions, everything that you've been through, what you're carrying, right? The loss, the grief, the trauma it's so heavy for us. And we want someone to understand this, to truly, truly, so that we feel seen and understood. And we can't stop talking about our symptoms because even though people understand, they get it, they say, oh, that's too bad, I'm sorry, or whatever, we're still not getting what we need. So we keep going, right? We're using the symptoms and the telling of the symptoms as a way to say, please see me. Please see my struggle. Please see the depth of how much I'm hurting. Please hold me. Please help me. Please tell me you love me. Tell me everything's going to be okay. Please see my fear. Right? Please see and understand my deep grief, my deep fear that I'm not going to get better, my deep sadness of all that I've lost because of this. Please understand that I'm broken, that I need softness, that I need love. Like, please understand inside me and see and like me anyway and love me anyway and know that I'm a hero and know that I'm good and just put your arms out, the way you imagine an angel would put their arms out and take you in. Okay, so if any of that resonates for you, this is why you keep doing it. This is what you're waiting for. And no one's ever going to do it. Not because they don't love you, not because they don't want to understand, not because they don't empathize, but because you maybe don't even understand fully what it is that you feel. You just know that you feel lost, right? Helpless, hopeless, sad, broken. And you want to feel held, right? That someone's got you. They fully understand. And one of the best ways that we can do this is you can start to write. Okay, it's better with writing than it is with meditation, although anything's good, right? But it's less effective with talk therapy. It's less effective with meditating because our stream of consciousness isn't uninterrupted and in flow state. But when we free write, meaning we set a timer and we just write whatever, fast, and we just keep going, the pen in our hand, and we don't stop, and we just let whatever ramble comes up onto the page, we get out and we get closer without any interruptions or analyzing or whatever. We get out these sort of deep things that are buried down. So when you start this journaling session, and I know you think journaling is a lot of work, but I want you to start the journaling session by writing this sentence, I want you to know. I want you to understand me. I want you to know that. I want you to understand that. I need you to know this. I need you to understand this. Okay, and you're talking to your partner, your mother, your child, the doctor, right? Every practitioner, everyone who has just not really got it. So you start the session by saying, I need you to know. I need you to understand, right? And we're directing this to people. We don't maybe even know what we want them to understand, but when we set the timer and we free write, we start to say, it's like, say you always walk in the room and you say to your spouse, oh, I feel so exhausted today, I have that headache starting, or my symptoms are revving up today. Just stop, go grab a piece of paper, sit down and write, I need you to know that. And you're thinking your husband, you're thinking everybody here. And you just start to write. And anything that comes up is okay. You know, I need you to know that whatever it is, and you just start writing, and you don't be afraid to write whatever it is that comes up. And deep things will come up, right? Because we need somebody to understand or to see or to know the depths, and they can never know. And we can never know until we write them, until we acknowledge that there's these deep parts that we need people to understand, we need people to recognize, we need them to see, and we need to still be loved through them. And once we see this on paper, and once we do this enough times, the question isn't stop talking about your symptoms, or the problem isn't stop talking about your symptoms because it's just dragging you down and keeping you sick. It's like, why? We need to dig deeper, right? Why do we keep having this need to tell? It's because we need to be seen. And what aren't they seeing? What aren't they understanding? What don't they know? What do we need? Right? And when we start to acknowledge within ourselves what it is, what we need everyone to know, right? They just haven't got it yet. Then we can start to understand, wow, this is what I need. And then we can either ask those closest to us for that, or we can give it to ourselves. Better yet, right? We can say, wow, I need to be loved unconditionally no matter what. Or I need you to be able to listen to this pain over and over and over, right? Like, I need you to sit with me while I feel it and just hold me that's good information, because now we can sit with ourselves through it when we're feeling it and hold ourselves, right? So it's like whatever we think we need from this person that we keep telling us to is really what we need from ourselves. And we're looking to them, sort of desperately, you know, flipping and flopping around, looking desperately for something that they're never really going to be able to give to us. It's only that we just need it. We need it from somebody. We need someone to really understand. And that's why a lot of healing stories, like if somebody gets a really good practitioner and they believe in a certain modality, or they do certain herbs, or they do certain body work, or they do a certain protocol, or they do, I don't care what the treatment is, whether it's diet or herbs or supplements or gizmos or gadgets or protocols, whatever it is. First, usually, it doesn't really, all roads go to healing, but when that person feels seen and heard from that practitioner, maybe that practitioner is just so amazing that they've met them, they've really heard them, they see them fully, and this patient feels totally, completely heard, seen, and understood. Then they trust, then they open up, and whatever the treatment is usually ends up helping, right? It's when we don't feel seen or heard or truly understood that the treatment does not end up helping, no matter how wonderful it is, because we were never really met in that place. So it's like when we finally feel seen and heard, we finally just like, thank you, right? Now I feel safe. Now I can move forward. Now I can get on with it. Now I can do this and that. And I'm not continually seeking, asking, like telling, like, I feel this, I feel that, like talking about my symptoms, just helplessly waiting to be heard and seen. Right? When we finally feel completely heard and seen and understood, we feel safe. And we feel, the stress can release, right? The stress that we're carrying. These deep emotions deep down that we want people to know, that we need, to be acknowledged and heard and witnessed. And so whether you can or can't find someone to do this for you, you can do it for yourself, right? Through writing, and you can do it through yourself, for yourself, by learning what you're writing down, figuring out what you actually need, what you need to be seen for and heard for, and then you can give it to yourself. So I hope this is making sense to you today, and I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I really mean it. I know it's a pain in the butt to do writing exercises, but it's a pain in the butt to do anything that works. We try to look away a lot of times, right? We're like, oh, that's too much work. I just said I have sore shoulders, sore neck. I just complained to my husband, but I don't really need to go sit down for 10 minutes and free write. I don't really need to do that. I'll just look away from it this time and carry on. That's the problem. We look away from the depth inside every time because it is too hard to acknowledge, right? We're continually looking away from what we truly need, what we truly want this person to know and see in us and hear, right? And know what do we truly want them to know and to acknowledge and to see about us, about these symptoms, about our life, right? About our feelings, about our grief, about our loss, about our pains, about our suffering. What do we want them to know? What do we need to tell? What do we need to bear? What is buried? Right? What is buried? And that's really what we need to discover. And we can't do that unless we turn inward and do the hard work. So you've got to recognize this and take the time, whether you want to or not, to do the work, because this is the hard work. And it might only take 10 minutes, but every time you do it, if you're constantly talking about your symptoms and you take 10 minutes every time, to explore that fast, like free writing without stopping, within 2-3 weeks, you're gonna know. You're going to have excavated that depth of what people are not seeing, of where you feel lost, where you don't feel seen, where you don't feel heard, where you don't feel recognized. And then you can start to feel safe, right? You can start to trust yourself, give it to yourself. And I know I'm repeating myself here, but it's so important that we don't let these things go, that we just don't turn a blind eye to what we're really needing when we talk about our symptoms, when we're continually talking about them. And that's why it's hurting us so badly. Not simply because we're just talking about it and we're staying trapped in the past and we're not doing our future work, and we're not, replacing negative with positive, and there's so many reasons, but the real reason, right, is because what is really needed within us is going unseen, unheard, unrecognized. And that's the real tragedy here. That's the real thing that keeps us sick and stuck, is that we just keep turning away from what we really need is to be seen. We need that depth to come to the surface and somebody to hold it, acknowledge it, love it, see it, understand it, just hold that space for it. So this is what we're really wanting, and this is what we're not getting, and this is the reason that it keeps us so sick, because we're not getting what we truly need. And so that is the deepest part that needs to be healed. So don't just try not to talk about your symptoms, because although it's a good technique to try, it's usually missing the point, right? Because the point is there's a reason why you're doing it, and that's, a deep need that you need. And if you just try to stuff it and don't talk about the symptoms, and you're just stuffing your need more, right? So go deeper on that. Find out what it is that you need, why you're doing it, and then take action on that, right? Do what you need to do to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel witnessed, to feel held, to feel loved, right? Because these are the true ways that we heal. So I hope this video has been helpful, and I will see you in the next one.